Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Photo. This is actually part two of that discussion I had with Liza Kraff over at Scenery, the software as a service nonlinear video editing application that's taken the world by storm. This is TWiP. First part of this interview was a one-on-one discussion where we kind of set the stage with who the app is for, what's the company all about, how are they solving challenges like 4K, all those things. So if you want to know the answers to those questions, head back to that first video, which is probably right next to this one in YouTube or on the site. But definitely check that out. If you don't want to check that one out, this one's also going to be great because this is a hands-on video, not necessarily designed for those people that are commuting and can't see a screen. But the minute you get to a screen, go ahead and watch this one and get a firsthand view into the software that is Scenery. So to do that, Liza Kraff is back again to give us that hands-on look at the software. Liza, welcome back. How's it going?
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to dive into scenery.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited to see your background. Just and we didn't talk about it in that first interview that we did, but your background is in video editing and pro video editing. So you're not coming to this as kind of just a random person that decided they want to create video. You've been doing this for quite some time. Give us a little tidbit about your background and what brings you to Scenery to kind of champion this effort.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me. Scenery, and I'm excited to dive in here, is a web-based collaborative video editor. And as you mentioned, I was a former video editor, but as I like to say, once a video editor, always a video editor.
Hmm.
But I was a professional video editor at NBC Sports a few years back, and I heard about Scenery, and I just jumped on board because I resonated with the problem that Scenery was trying to solve. I was dealing with working as a night shift video editor and having to communicate with the day shift team during COVID, and our workflows were just completely siloed. You were dealing with, changes in the lower thirds and things of such nature of just any video editing workflow, but we were dealing with these large files and these large projects that you had to recreate the project from scratch, given that you didn't have your colleagues' hard drive with you, given that you were remote and you were just having to deal with the nature of, you know, video editing during the stage of what COVID was. So with that, I again resonated with the problem that Scenery was trying to solve, and immediately jumped on board. And still am video editing, creating video every day, whether it's for personal reasons or for Scenery. But I love video editing, and I'm excited to dive into the tool and show everyone what Scenery is about.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and like I told you when we had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago, I have much respect for video editors and just the craft of, I don't know, what's the best way to put it? How like in cinematography, how the editor can literally puppet the audience's emotions through the way that they cut a piece together. They can make them laugh, they can make them happy, they can make them sad or whatever, just through the way that they decide to cut that particular clip. So that's always fascinated me. So hats off, to the video editors out there that are doing the good work for content creation. But let's dive in. Let's dive into the
Awesome.
to a hands-on demo. You ready? You ready to share?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's get into it.
Uh,
And feel free to ask me any questions as I take you around scenery.
okay, yeah. You have the con. Take us away.
Awesome. So, as I mentioned, Scenery is a web based collaborative video editor. So, we look at ourselves as your all in one solution to asset management, storing, organizing, getting your footage in a really good state for a teammate to jump in. Or if you're a solo editor like yourself, Frederick, and you just want a lot of evergreen content, you could store and organize your footage that way too. We also have a video editor itself. We have two editing interfaces. We have your traditional timeline that you'll be familiar with, and other tools like Premiere, Final Cut, you name it. And then we also have a canvas, which is more of your video whiteboard, so to speak. You have all this real estate to roam around to create multiple versions. And then the final stage of Scenery is that scene review. And a scene review just completely gets rid of that workflow of having to export a first draft and send it off to a stakeholder, whether it's internal or external, get that feedback, and then do it all over again for another, 2 or 3 different feedback loops. So we cut down that process as well because it's all right in the tool. So let's go ahead and let's dive into a project that I've created. You're here looking at the Scenery homepage here. You could see all the activity with the team here. You could see that I have a team settings page, which will allow me to store all my different team colors, my team fonts, my team color LUTs here as well. And then when you go to your team collections, you have the ability to stay brand consistent again. So if you're working with a team of various different collaborators, whether it's somebody who's editing, whether it's a producer, whether it's, somebody just giving feedback or uploading content, you have the ability to store all of your different brand assets, keep it brand consistent. You see I have my Scenery logos here, but if this was my This Week in Photo team that I've got here, I could store all my different media here as well.
Cool. Yeah.
So we'll dive into a project that I've created, and this is going to be a little meta here for you, Frederick, because this is the interview that we had previously that I just imported some footage from. But I'll take you through the lay of the land here, and I'm going to dive into this specific project. You'll notice that this is our timeline editor. We've got 4 different modes here: project, canvas, timeline, and scene review. I'll first start on this project page just because I'm somebody who likes to really get organized at that project level first before diving into the edit. So if you're someone like me, you'll have the ability to create collections right here. So if this was, logos for the specific project, I could create a logos folder. I could have my interview collection as well. We could drop this PNG into this logos collection here. And then in terms of the actual content that I have here, you'll notice I already imported the interview itself and a clip from the interview that I liked. But to import media, as I mentioned in the previous conversation that we had, you'll be able to import from the cloud. So from your Google Drive, Dropbox, you'll also obviously be able to click to browse and import from your desktop if you're storing on your hard drive as well. And then we do have some in-app features like voice over recording, webcam recording, and your screencast too. So if you wanted to import, record yourself and redo a voiceover, you can absolutely do that. So I'll dive into some of these organizational aspects of Scenery. You'll notice here that I uploaded this interview that Frederick and I had about a few weeks ago. And what's great about this is I can go ahead and I could see that I've got all these 3 different tabs here: the properties, comments, and transcript. You'll see the metadata. I could tag this, the date of the interview, whatever it may be. And then I also can transcribe it. So I went ahead already and I transcribed this video. You'll just click to transcribe. And I'm going to double click into this piece of media here so you can see it at a bigger level. We'll see that the transcript's over here too. And this is speaker 1. And as I highlight this, I'm not playing back the video. I could just simply see what I said here. And if I like, this bite, maybe I want to use it in the timeline when we start to edit. I could give my fellow collaborator, or if it's for myself, just a mental note saying, use this bite. And now that will be saved. If I want to favorite or reject a comment as well, I could do that as well by simply, highlighting again the section and then clicking F to favorite and then reject if I want as well. So I could favorite it and I don't even need to make a comment. And that's a nice way to, let's say, upvote if, you've got multiple people who want to give their feedback. You could have multiple people star this comment or this bite. So we could do this for various different pieces of media directly in this project. But once that's done, once that's in a good state, you'll be able to actually apply those comments and that feedback directly into the editor itself. So I'm going to first dive into our timeline editor. And before I do that, Frederick, any questions you have for me in this project organizational phase here?
No, I actually, well, yes, I do actually have one small question. On the, you were showing the transcript there. Are there any plans in the future to kind of move in the direction of what Premiere did with adding the ability to edit that copy and have it reflect in the timeline? Premiere and Descript do something similar to that.
Yeah, I believe you're referring to the getting rid of the ums and the buts and all the silent
Yeah.
pauses as
Yes.
one of the features. Yeah, so that's definitely on our roadmap. That's something that we are thinking about. You'll see in a minute that we do have the ability to actually take the transcript and embed it into the video itself. But in terms of just editing a cut down, that is on the future roadmap.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome. So let's dive into the timeline, Pierre. And you saw that I was there initially before I went to this project page. But you'll notice that I have the two icons still resonate in our media library here. You'll always have access to your media library. I also want to point out, so this is our project tab for the specific project, but you'll notice that we've got a team tab. And this is where you can access all those team collections. So you saw that I already had a team collection with my brand assets. So I have this week in photo, and that's where I'll be able to always access, team collections, team projects. If I had another project that I want to dive into and take an asset from there, and then all of your media. I will also call out. I mentioned in our last conversation, Frederick, that we have a cloud tab with some various different integrations. So we've got your Shutterstock library, which offers you to search various different royalty-free media, videos, images, and music. And then we do also have Pexels and a Dolly integration, which is really fun. So we could explore that in a minute here. If you've got a prompt that you want to tag me with, that I'd be happy to play around and see if what photo that generates there.
Okay. It could be dangerous.
It could be dangerous. I don't know if I should have offered that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this is a video I already started to piece together, and we'll dive into this in just a minute here. But before I do that, let's go back to our project assets. We've organized them into two collections here. So within this interview here, you'll see that I have two different ranges, and those are the same two comments that I previously mentioned in the project page here. And you'll be able to take those, play them back, and actually just directly drop those right into the timeline right then and there. So again, if you're somebody who's just creating a bunch of evergreen content and likes to mark up your footage, it's one way to do it. And then, of course, the more obvious, if you've got various different collaborators in your team with you, you'll be able to give feedback to one another and directly apply that feedback to the editor itself. So that's what I did exactly here. I dropped in this bite that Frederick is referring to for this weekend photo right into this my timeline here. Before I did that, I was given the option to create my scene. A scene in Scenery is like a sequence in other tools. So this was given to me right when I jumped into my project. I had the option to change my aspect ratio. I chose a square 1:1. You'll be able to choose 16:9, 9:16 if you're creating it for TikTok. And then from there, I took that media, I assembled it into this video. I added a nice shape layer underneath to make the This Week in Photo logo pop a little bit better. And you'll notice that we've got various different cool, titles, baked, fun animated titles. You always have the option to customize your own. Some cool just title wipes as well. Shapes, that's where I took this white background here and I created a rectangle shape from there. And then we have your transitions, effects, animations as well. So let's go ahead and just do some fun, quick little edits here. I'm gonna just have the This Week in Photo animation pop. So I just drag that on to the beginning here. And if I want to preview that out, I'm gonna click on the asset itself, scroll down to my properties window. I could play that out and preview it.
One of the things that
So it just automatically just plays out the animation. So I could, I want it for 2 seconds. Maybe we play that out.
one of the things that we're looking at moving toward.
It's kind of slow. Let's go with 1 and call it a day. And then if I want to build one out, I could have it stretch, play around with what the build out looks like. And again, now I'm in my build out. I can play around with what that looks like. Let's make it 1 second. And now
system for that.
So you saw that
Mm-hmm.
logo just animate off. So it's really intuitive when it comes to just building in quick, nice animations. But I have a feeling that you did mention TikTok, and you mentioned just quickly being able to assemble edits in a nice,
Mm-hmm.
easy way in a platform and different platforms. And Scenery has released a new subtitles feature. So I'm going to create a subtitles from the track. You could choose your track that you want to create subtitles for. Right now we've got our video in our main track, so I'll create subtitles from there. You also have the option to create subtitles from your titles library. So I'll click that, and then you'll be able to choose your style. So I'm going to choose word highlight just because to go with that, TikTok theme. And don't worry, if you choose your style and you want to change it, you'll always have the ability to change it after the fact. But because we already transcribed this media clip, it's really quick. The tool that we're using, and of course we're using AI to generate your subtitles and your audio here. Obviously, this looks like we're using a scenery yellow. Maybe we want to change the subtitles, and of course you could always alter the words too if you don't like what's coming on screen. So I'm going to go to my properties panel again. Maybe I want to make this a little bit bigger, just to focus in on this section of the white box down here. And maybe I want to change the color to this week in photo color. Oh, it looks like I already saved it as one of my team colors. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click this week in photo. So now the highlighted subtitle is red as we play through it. And we'll do that in just a second here. But before I do that, maybe we want to make our fill color just a different, I don't know, maybe we want to make it black so it pops a little bit better. So now if we play this out,
one of the things that we're looking at moving towards in 20,
and you could see it takes the transcription and the property changes to all the different subtitle boxes that we've created over here.
And can you edit that text? You can, like, if the AI messes up, you can fix that.
Absolutely. Yep. You could change that right here. So one of the things that it looks like, doesn't look like we have that many typos in this, which is pretty great, but whatever it may be, yes, absolutely, you could change the text itself, and you can see as I'm clicking through, it's moving to the location that we need it to go to.
Yeah, that's great.
And actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'll delete as our final edit here. I'll go ahead and I'll just delete these because maybe we want to have your name kind of pop on. So we'll just have your title pop on first. And you can see I'm going to alter it. It's on white text right now, so you can't see it. But again, maybe we want this week in photo, the colors that we've populated. Maybe I want to change the line of this video as well. Let's see. We have
And one thing I'm noticing, Liza, is it doesn't feel like I'm in a browser. It doesn't feel like it feels like a regular desktop app. I was specifically looking for drag and latency and stuttering and things like that. The audio that's coming through when you play that clip is distorted on this side, but I think it's just an artifact of us doing the screen share. But it seems very solid and fast and quick and responsive. So when would it get unresponsive? Yeah.
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, let me answer the fact that the reason why you're not seeing that latency and that lag is because we're working in proxies, right? So it might feel like a desktop editor because we're trying to make it feel like it is a desktop editor, right? We want to give you that feel that you're in your application and you're working as quick as possible. The times that you might run into some challenges is if you had, bad internet connection or if it was bad internet connection. But the beauty there is you don't have to worry about your data being lost or any of those issues, because again, we are stored in the cloud. So anything that any edit that you make, any action that you take, it will be saved for you in your project to jump back into.
And just real quick, once my files are fully uploaded to Scenery servers, I can archive them off on my side. There's no there's no link between my local files and the files that I've uploaded once they're in the cloud.
Correct. Yep. So someone like myself who's constantly just dragging different cool PNGs that I'm making in like Figma or other tools or whatever it may be, and just throwing them all on my desktop first or wherever I'm storing them, downloading them. I upload them into Scenery itself, and then once they're uploaded there, I just wipe my desktop clean, and I don't have to worry about that media getting it unlinked or anything anymore.
Very cool.
So obviously this is a nice quick little clip that we've created here. It's about 1 minute long. We're in our traditional NLE, but in Scenery we also have this canvas, and I mentioned the canvas because it's just really nice space to roam around, and you have all this real estate. I'm going to exit out of this media library for a second, this properties panel, so you can see what I'm talking about here. So the scene here is what we've assembled in our timeline, but we also have all of this space to roam around. So this is for Instagram, let's say, but let's say, Frederick, you wanted to make this for TikTok. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to quickly hold down Option and drag this up. And this now just created a duplicate here, which is pretty cool because I could go ahead and call this, scene 1 for TikTok, let's just call it. And now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change my scene settings. We'll make this a 9:16. And now in real time, you're going to see that this has just changed the aspect ratio and the location of all my titles. The only thing that you'll have to assemble and just modify will be your video itself and the shape asset, for example. But other than that, it's pretty much done for you. You saw how quick that was. Maybe I want to adjust your video to be just a tiny bit bigger, just so I could alter that. So it's a really nice place for you to see multiple versions. Ooh, this is my 16 by, or my 1:1, and then this is my 9:16, and maybe I want to make my subtitle little bit bigger there. I'm going to go back to my timeline here. I'm now in my 9:16 version. I head to my my subtitles properties here, and I could go ahead and make this font size a bit bigger so that when we're jumping back to the canvas, you could see that those edits are shown over here. The other thing I would just want to call out on the canvas is the fact that you have this space, right? You could add notes to yourself. You could say section for best sound bites, and it's really small, I would imagine, on your end right now, but I'm going to zoom in to this section over here. Section, I spelled that wrong, for best sound bites, and now I could go ahead and I could open up my media library, go to this section over here, open up my properties panel, head to my comments, and use this bite. Great, let's go ahead. Let's just drop that right onto the canvas here. And now I've got the soundbite just kind of hosted out, hanging out here on this canvas here. And it's a great way just to kind of see and play around with what shots you like, what you don't like. We could trim, we could make those adjustments, have different, our logos kind of hanging out here on the canvas as well. So if we go to our team, collections, brand assets, this week in photo, I could have my different logos for this week in photo on the canvas as well, and you would see those populate over here. And I could play around with different ideas like, ooh, maybe I want it on a gradient shape, so I'm going to attach those together. We can make this smaller, so you could see how I'm assembling just cool different ideas out on this canvas before I actually commit to it in the timeline.
Is that an infinite canvas? Can I just keep throwing stuff in there and just kind of going for it? And is it persistent? Whenever I log in to that particular project, I'm going to see that canvas?
Exactly. Yeah, you'll see this canvas, and now we've got this cool backdrop, so that anytime I want to use this, I could option drag, kind of have these two assets saved, option drag, have them now over here. Maybe I want to add it to the beginning of this video. I'm going to just drop it in the beginning of this video here. And now you're going to see that it looks a little funky because it was a 16:9 to a 9:16, but we can make those quick little adjustments. And now that maybe this is my intro to this week in photo that leads into, your interview itself.
Yeah.
If we want
so
to get
anytime I wanted to So if I have an interview that I've edited in Scenery, and then I decide, oh yeah, I need to create a TikTok clip from this video from the canvas. Maybe I already have a little TikTok kind of project built in there. I can just take the content that I want and drop it into that template, make a few changes, and export. I'm good.
Exactly. Yep. You got it. Yep. And you could use that same template that you've built here to now duplicate that project, call it whatever the interview is for that date and that time, and then plop in a new segment that you want for that video, and you're good to go. And then regenerate your subtitles, and you could publish directly to YouTube if you want. We are working on publishing to other platforms as well, but right now you could publish directly to YouTube. So we will generate an export, and then once that's exported, we'll start to generate this export. You'll be able to exit out of this, start working on your other edits. And then once that's done, you could publish to YouTube. I will mention, though, that scene review page as well. Again, I know you're kind of just cranking out a bunch of different clips yourself, Frederick,
Hmm.
and pushing them to social. But if you've got a team who wants to give their input and their feedback here, they could jump in here to the scene review. Actually, you're the editor. You share them the link, permission them like a Google Doc. If you just want to give them reviewing access, you could copy that link, send it off to them. They'll only have access to this page and the project page. They won't be able to touch or see your canvas or timeline. So if you are somebody who is afraid to let someone in, you could of course permission. You could give them access to your timeline as well. But if they come in here, they'll see this view. They could give you a time-coded comment. Maybe they say change. Oh, our export's already ready. We could download it. We could push it to YouTube, but we're not ready
Oh,
to
very
push that
cool.
out yet. I'm going to go change this, uh, maybe highlighted color to, I don't know, let's say gray. And now in real time, as the editor, you'll get that feedback on your end, and you'll be able to go ahead into your subtitle here. I'll just zoom into the subtitle itself, and we could go ahead, we could change that property to gray because that's the feedback that we got, and the feedback will be shown on the timeline here as well. Change this highlighted portion to gray. I clicked it, it sent me to the time code there. I just changed it to gray, and now if we go back to that scene review, your reviewer will see that change immediately happen. You don't have to send an export anymore. It's all right then and there.
Okay. Wow. Wow. And is a future use case one where, and I think we talked about this a little bit before, one where I could just have a workflow where I just have a bunch of folders, and when I put stuff in a particular folder that's then connected into Scenery, a third party could go ahead and go in there and do their thing and even upload to my YouTube channel if I've given them permission to do so.
Absolutely. Yep. As I mentioned, you could give permission to allow certain people in and out of specific projects. You could limit people in and out of your entire team. And then from there, as I mentioned, anyone with this link can review or can access the project. They'll be able to jump in, upload. Maybe they're shared on your Dropbox, as you mentioned. They'll be able to directly upload the content as you're working on another project. And they could give their feedback and their 2 cents onto the source as well, and organize and keep them, in a structured folder, structure collections that we have here shown.
Very cool. Is scenery designed for the idea of doing sort of long form projects? Like, could I do a documentary in the app, or is it more for like an hour or less, or shorter than that? Like, where are the limitations or the guidance in terms of the project duration?
Yeah, it's a great question. Right now, we are really great for your shorter cut downs, right? Um,
Hmm.
I actually just yesterday created a 15-minute video from the Bruce Springsteen concert at Wrigley Field. So we do support, of course, a 15 to 30-minute video as well. So you can ingest your hour-long podcast, cut it down for nice social purposes. But if you are looking to create your 15 to 30-minute video, we do support that as well. So there's no limitation there.
Very cool. Yeah, what a clean UI this is. This is very very slick and modern. And yeah, that canvas bit of it was I think that's part of the power in Scenery, but it was also the part where I was like, okay, I got to get my brain around how this works. What
Absolutely.
is this? You know?
It's the first real nonlinear editor. Yeah, so you could think of it that way. And I do want to call out too. Obviously, we are in the cloud, but Frederick, you mentioned you might have your own personal brand kind of videos that you want to create, but you also have videos for This Week in Photo. You have the ability to
Hmm.
create multiple teams. So multiple teams. So this is Liza's team. Right now we're in the Scenery.video team. So you could have multiple teams as well.
Very cool. Yeah. Nice. Wow. So what's next? What is next for this app? Is it? I mean, you're not done, obviously. So
Oh
what's
no.
what can we look forward to?
Yeah, well, we're constantly developing new features. We recently released our subtitles feature, so please jump in, tell us what you think, let us know what you want to see when it comes to improvements, what you're liking. We're always looking for feedback. Ultimately, we want to create a tool best for people like yourself, Frederick. But what's next? You could expect to see some hopefully future AI capabilities within Scenery. I did mention Dolly, and I won't forget that. So
Oh yeah.
I want to hear your request here just so we could see how that Dolly integration works. Do you have any uh,
Yeah.
prompts
Okay.
that you want to give me?
Let's try a cinematic, photorealistic shot of a robot riding a horse on a beach. That should be easy, all right?
Yeah, that should be easy. Okay, cinematic photo, a cinematic photorealistic shot of a robot riding a horse on a beach. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Drum roll,
If not,
please. This is
drum roll,
live.
please. It's going to generate two images here. We'll see what happens.
This is
Here we
crazy.
go. Okay. We've got,
Oh,
that's
he's
pretty
standing.
good.
Not bad. Oh, is that a robotic horse that it
It,
decided to create?
it looks like it. Yeah, so now that's added to your project and you'll see it here and we could whatever, maybe it's in your video. Let's actually bring it into the I'm going to go back to your Instagram version. Maybe we want to have it kind of pop on. I don't know, you're not going to mention that. Maybe we have it kind of hosted out in this upper left corner.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we have it animate on actually, so we could have it move up. So I'm going to actually zoom into this section of my timeline and you could see that we could preview it.
In the show and all the things.
Maybe we have it, I don't know, stamp off.
Oh,
And
wow.
there you go.
Yeah. Very cool. And I'm assuming the effects and the lower thirds and titles and all those sorts of things, because this is a software as a service, you guys can add those whenever you want. And next time I log in, I'm going to see the new, right? So
Yeah,
that's one of the
absolutely.
benefits, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so we have a various different effects and transitions. We are constantly thinking of different ways to improve our libraries. And you'll notice that titles, we if you've been in Scenery previously, we had all of these different titles for you. We actually recently just added these two different title introduction wipes. So to your point, yep, it was just as simple as generating two new titles and putting them right into the application.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. You guys must be proud. This is an exciting, brave new world of this cloud based editing stuff, right? I mean, I can't imagine what your whiteboard looks like over there. You know, when you guys sit down and collaborate, because
Yeah,
there's so much you could do. Like the Dolly stuff is one thing, but you know, the
it's
whole
fun.
world of AI, right? But there's so much more. There's a ton.
Yeah, there's always work to be done, but yeah, it's been really exciting getting to work on the tool. And obviously, I'm only just one representation of the company, but we've got an amazing group of engineers and designers. And I have I'm lucky and to be able to speak to Scenery as a whole and as a company as a whole. But it's been really fun getting to be part of this team. And we're all really passionate about video. And hope most of us come from video backgrounds as well, which makes the product unique. And
Yeah,
this
because
is
you know what you
why we're
want.
trying to, yeah, and we're trying to create it to feel like intuitive enough for those novice users, but also those pros. We want them to feel familiar in a tool that we have. And you'll notice, Scenery just got an update. You'll see this toast that sometimes we'll have updates. You'll just quickly reload, and boom, you'll have a new update ready for you. Whether that's a feature or it's something small that just might make that edit and that process a little bit better.
Wow, that's cool. That is really cool. It's kind of like my car. My car gets updates like that from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. A good comparison.
Yeah, really cool. Liza Kraff, thank you for doing this and doing this walkthrough and letting me pick your brain in that first interview. I think this is an important step for the I don't even want to call it the next generation because it's like now, and it's
Yeah, here.
it's not. I always like trying to stay away from the or comparisons.
Sure.
Like, okay, this is the next wave. All that other stuff before it is dead, and now it's this, right? It can very easily be an and a right tool for the right job at that situation, and that's where this software kind of slides in there, especially if you're doing collaborative stuff. I'm looking forward to playing around with the collaboration, and
Yeah.
the lazy me wants to be able to, hey, if I just record an episode and drop it in a Dropbox folder, wouldn't it be cool if I could just send a text or an email to someone and have them go grab it, fix it, do all the things to it, and put it up on YouTube as unlisted for my review, and then I
Yeah.
publish. That would
Well,
be
and I'll do you one better. If you want to upload this interview that we're doing right now to your Scenery team, invite me to that project. I'd be happy to jump in there and we could edit and assemble this video together to push to YouTube.
done. Okay, I will do that.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
easy.
Awesome.
Easy. Okay, yeah, yeah, so how should I do that? So I have a Scenery account already. So just create
Yeah.
a project for this video and
Perfect.
then
Yep.
add you to
Upload.
that and
Invite me.
just throw the video up. Okay. All right, I will do
And
that.
we could
Easy.
start collaborating, cutting down. Tell me what bites you like, what we want to cut out. We're not going to cut out anything. This was perfect.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Or as far as the audience will know, it was perfect, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
That's what
very
I'm
cool.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Excellent, excellent. I will do that. And yeah, so maybe, well, depending on how it goes, we may be able to just use this as the episode for, when we publish it. Why not? Right? So
Awesome.
it's Inception. We're talking about Scenery, we're editing in Scenery, and we're publishing the discussion that we talked about Scenery in Scenery. That should be amazing.
Yeah. Very
So,
meta. And we're editing the interview right within the product itself.
yeah, yeah, that's meta. That's meta Inception, like to the third power somehow. I don't know. We may crack the universe. So, all
Love
right,
it.
Liza. Once again, for people that want to try the software out, what's a good place for them to point their browser to?
Jump into your Google Chrome browser and type in Scenery.video, and from there you'll be guided to log in and sign up for your first Scenery account and invite others to your team.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Liza Kraft, we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much for your time today, and be on the lookout for yourself being added to a project, and we'll collaborate. We'll collaborate through the
I
app
can't
going
wait.
forward.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been super fun, and I'm excited to get you into your Scenery project editing, but and others as well. And I'm here to help. So I don't know if am I still sharing my screen here, Frederick? I could see the screen on my end.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, awesome. And we've got a help button, so you could always book a call with me to jump in and to learn the product a little bit better. You could jump into our Scenery Slack community and get to the ins and outs of what other community members are doing within Scenery. And then you always have the option to jump to our help center and look up some of our resources, articles, how-to videos, and whatnot. So we're here to help, and please use our support. We want to help you and be successful in Scenery.
Fantastic. the benefits of being in the cloud. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, Liza, have a good rest of your week, and I'll speak soon.
You as well. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
This is TWiP.